This is the afternoon of the 17th of February 2026. This will be part 2. Our government kidnapped our children. Epstein files expose unbelievable horrors. Part 2. Sit back and have a listen. It'll play for around 13 minutes. Adrenochrome allegation. That's what's on the screen.
Recently, explosive claims surfaced. A reported Russian seizure of a shipment allegedly labeled humanitarian aid was said to contain cryogenic storage units and a substance described as adrenochrome. The allegation claims it was intercepted at a naval base in Syria and destined for Hollywood, California. The story alleges horrific origins. Let's be clear. There's no verified evidence that such a seizure occurred, but then again, we know who controls the mainstream media. There's no confirmed proof of organized adrenochrome harvesting networks tied to governments either. Adrenochrome itself is a real chemical compound. It can be synthesized in laboratories. There's no scientific evidence that it provides supernatural benefits or requires harm to children. But here's the key point. Why do so many people believe stories like this? Because trust in institutions is collapsing. When powerful elites are caught protecting predators, when documents are sealed, when whistleblowers disappear, a vacuum forms, and into that vacuum rushes speculation. But then again, how do you continually just ignore the mountain of evidence? A 2009 account claims that Mexican model Gabriela Rico Jimenez ran from an elite party screaming, "They are eating people. It's people." Says she disappeared that night. Gabriela Rico was a Mexican actress who in the early 2000s appeared in telenovelas and television programs. Her career came to an abrupt end when she began publicly announcing that she'd been kidnapped, abused, and used by powerful people in the world of entertainment and politics. "I'm not crazy," she said. "They drug me so that I don't talk. They are very powerful people behind this." In several videos and testimonies, Gabriela claimed that there was an organized network of exploitation where young actresses were recruited, silenced, and punished if they tried to speak out. Shortly after making those accusations, Gabriela was detained under confusing circumstances and admitted to a psychiatric hospital where she remained for years. Her accusations disappeared from the media. Her name was erased from the industry, and any attempt to revisit her version was discredited under the diagnosis of mental illness. What is proven? Powerful individuals protected a known trafficker for years. Intelligence agencies have historically engaged in covert operations. Governments have lied before. Corporate and political elites often protect their own. These are documented realities. So the awakening isn't about believing everything. It's about demanding transparency. It's about refusing blind loyalty to any party or nation. It's about understanding that corruption does not wear a red tie or a blue tie. It wears power.
People that worship Moloch and sacrifice children, I can't sugarcoat that. Okay, how is it possible that Walt Disney Corporation has anything to do with biomedical and scientific British publication? And here's how it interlinks. It's just crazy. After World War II, Charles Darwin's grandson and Fleming, the guy who discovered penicillin, they went to the British government and they said, "Hey, we think you need to improve biomedical and scientific publishing house." And so they said, no problem. They combined these two publishing houses, and guess who they put in as the editor? This is where we start getting into the Disney realm. Okay. They hired as the editor of this Robert Maxwell. Now, Robert Maxwell has nothing to do with medical education, right? Or scientific publication. But it turns out that the owner of the largest scientific publishing house in England, all during the war and before and after, it was the intelligence services, owned their publishing. So now they hire Robert Maxwell, who was a proven and admitted a spy for the British during World War II, but he was also a Mossad agent because he's buried on the Mount of Olives. Who's Robert Maxwell? He's Ghislaine Maxwell's dad. Okay, Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, the Disney Corporation, it turns out, his son is named Robert Maxwell Iger because he was a best buddy of Robert Maxwell. And then you have the old issue of Ghislaine Maxwell with Jeffrey Epstein and the whole pedophile problem. It turns out the Disney Corporation has cruise ships that would go and do diving things off St. James or the neighboring island. It's all big one incestuous thing, but one of the things that flows through everything, it shows the pedophile connection to all of this. So who they are people that have big enough money for universal censorship, big enough money to come after, doctors all over the world, take over the system to come after us all over the world. And they're connected heavily by funding from pedophilia. And the even more evil thing that they don't talk about is body parts. Is the number one money in the world is selling body parts.
They eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh, and they drink human blood.
Набивать брюхо человеческой плотью, а карманы деньгами. Но они должны понять, что бал вампиров заканчивается.
The government just admitted that there are a bunch of child-loving PDFs who worship Baal and are Satanists, and people think the solution is voting in the midterms. Do you now see why they don't care? Do you now see why they are so open about this and mocking us? Because they know tomorrow you're still going to clock into work on Monday. They know that you still have faith in a system that you cannot vote your way out of. This is why they don't care, because they know there are people who still believe in this illusion.
The real divide.
The real divide is not race, not religion, not nationality. What it is those who exploit innocence versus those who protect it. Those who profit from chaos versus those who want peace. The awakening happening right now is a collective realization. The people at the very top are often insulated from consequences. And unless citizens unite peacefully and admit that these criminals are actually committing these atrocities, accountability will never come. But here's the danger. Anger can be weaponized. If outrage turns into blind hatred, if entire ethnic or religious groups are blamed, if unverified claims are treated as fact, then the very forces people claim to oppose win. Division is their shield. Ignorance and denial are their covering. If we don't stand for truth, real documented evidence-based truth, what future do our children have? If we let corruption hide behind partisan warfare, if we let media distract us with cultural battles, then yes, the future becomes fragile. But if average people unite around transparency, child protection, accountability, and peace, that changes everything. The awakening is not about conspiracy. It is about responsibility. It is about courage. It's about refusing to look away from proven corruption, while also refusing to be manipulated by unverified horror stories. Because truth is powerful enough on its own. This is not left versus right. This is not religion versus religion. This is humanity versus corruption. And the awakening has already begun. And yet the world at large is still distracted, diverted, and detoured with everything under the sun. And so we stay fat and happy with all kinds of worthless vanity. Like... Jesus the Messiah, Yeshua the Mashiach. He is the way, the truth, and the life.
Folks, do you not think that these elitists do all these things so they can live longer because they believe that by drinking the blood of children that have been tortured and horrified? Who was it that gave us the COVID-19 shot? Oh, I know. It was that short, fat, dumpy-looking guy with the bald head playing president. He's the one that funded Moderna to develop mRNA. Then what did the government do? Well, the government mandated that everybody take the shot. All our military, all our Coast Guard, all our Air Force, all our commercial pilots, they were all ordered to take the shot. Can't you see how this is all done to cull the herd? They're not going to stop. You know how many children go missing in the United States every year? 460,000. That's just in the United States. This happens globally. Who are you going to go to? You're going to go to that short, fat, dumpy, dopey-looking guy with the bald head that gave us the shot? mRNA? How much more proof do you need? I don't. Do you?